All right. Do a quick sound check, see if you guys can hear me. You're breakdancing, James. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If you breakdancing, how much mason jar did you have tonight, James? What's going on, man? Yeah, I was just I'm a tad late. I was in the other room, and of course the baby sees me and like freaks out. I'm like, no, I gotta go, and she's like all like riled up now. So yep, it's a bad thing. Nice. So yeah, little one is in the other room screaming, and mom is shooting me some like laser eyes of why did you do that? So that'll be interesting. Hopefully she crashes. All right. So we are starting up. James got in here early today. Obviously, James is trying to move up the list here. Um, I don't see Ernest on yet, which means I think James is going to start getting a little bit closer there. And we'll see Ryan's a little behind. And funny story, guys, today. Josh was like, I'm having my daughter log in so I can get my pip chips, my salty chips, my salty tears. He's here. He's here. Ryan's here. Okay. And poor Josh. I know Josh is watching the replay. Josh, you're coming in at 5. Um, we got to work on getting that daughter logged in. Make sure she can watch as well too. We'll help her learn how to trade. But most importantly, again, you'll get your pip chips, and you can, you get you can get some free stuff. Some free stuff. All right. All right. So let's get this out of the way here. Intro out. Oops, wrong one. Hold on. Um, there we go. Bam, there we go. Otherwise, it does that like kind of mirrored devising thing. So, all right. Looking at Forex Factory, again, we talked about retail sales was going to be a big deal this morning. And it was interesting. Retail sales, manufacturing, and core were all well above forecast. Actually, they were surprisingly above forecast, actually, which was pretty interesting. The reaction to it was not that huge. So, it was, again, I found that very interesting that we did not get more of a spike this morning. The fact that all three of these were completely, again, they were all good numbers, at least in the currency market. I know the stock market was kind of all over the place this morning. But looking across, it was more or less a pretty tame day. You can see euro was down. Again, there's that euro weakness. We see that there's pound strength on the 2 pound pairs. Again, that continued what we saw from yesterday. Dollar yen, 19 pips in 24 hours. Really not tons. I mean, a bit of a retracer there. Um, dollar Swiss. I mean, again, it's funny. We have pound dollar, which is dollar weakness, but then we have, 3 pairs of dollar strength, and then we have one of dollar weakness, but it's actually going up. So it's another one of those days where everything is up except the euro. It's like one of those weird days. And again, typically when it's this close to, really not much of a movement day, then this is what you get. So again, it is Thursday. We'd like to see a little bit more movement going into a Friday, but again, this week has actually been rather shy for news. Okay. So going into tomorrow, you can see what do we got? Building permits and preliminary U of M consumer sentiment. So not a lot. I do know, we have our second Lex Trats this weekend. I do know, like, I have another 4 kids that are on vacation. A lot of people are away this week. So again, that may be leading to some of kind of the lesser moves out, that we've seen. So probably won't go the full time today. We'll just kind of see what we have. I thought this is pretty interesting. Did you guys see this? China loses status as U.S. largest foreign creditor to Japan. But again, Japan is, they used to hold it, and then China started taking it over. So interesting headlines there. All right, so let's just run through. It's on a different workspace. Let's go over here. All right, so as you can see, okay, yesterday we were talking about this retracement. We came all the way back down again, and what it did is it kind of ran back up again. But in this pair, you can see we have 2 basically lower peaks, right? And then on the bottom as well, we can see it's kind of running a trend line on the bottom. So on the 4-hour as well as the daily, though, is a little harder to see on the daily. Ooh, did you guys hear that? That that uh, that pinging noise? I don't know if you guys heard that, or if it was just me. I think that means that somebody just followed the channel. It's supposed to say it, but I guess it's not loading it correctly. I don't know. I'm not sure how that part of it works. But you guys will see. We are consolidating now. Top down, bottom up, right? Basically, that means we're running out of steam. Okay, look at this thing on the 30-minute. You can kind of see the same. We had this one little pop again that came at 2:30 this morning, and a bit of a retrace back down. Okay, this retrace did go right into what? a demand zone. Okay, and again, that hit last night after chart school. That's when that one formed. And then this morning it drove down about 6:30 this morning. So in this pair, there was actually a setup. Okay, a little bit of one, right? Even in this level of consolidation. So not a huge area. Okay, and again, price pulled. This was when actually it was in this one right here. This price is pulling down, and again, this is hard analysis, right? Obviously, this green is outside of these two colors. Okay, which means we were obviously in what? Technically, it was a downtrend because if you go all the way across, but you guys can see we had a bit of a pullback on this retrace. And again, smaller time zone change. So smaller time frame. So a little bit difficult here. A ping and a little dancing person. You guys saw a dancing person? I didn't see the dancing person. Yeah, the dancing person means that somebody just followed the channel. I put that on there today, but I was like, I don't know how I'm going to test this. Hopefully somebody... It was supposed to pop up in the middle of the screen and tell you guys, but obviously it didn't. So, don't know. It was a dancing person. Wasn't it? It was supposed to be like a shark. Was it not a shark? I thought I said it for like a little blue. Was it a blue, like a little tiny blue person? I think that was a shark. It says 96 followers. Wait, 96 followers followed? Or we have 96 total? I can't see it. My window's a little bit different than yours right now. But anyway, there was a little bit of a setup again. Price came down, 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 down. Hit this little, 30-minute kind of, rally, kind of a rally base kind of rally. And then popped out of it, but then just based. So again, whether you took this on the pop, it did go back up to the start of the move up here where it kind of first stabilized, but more or less it just is flatlined at this point. With again, no news tonight. Oops. No news tonight here. Again, don't know that we're going to see much movement in this pair right now. Like I said, we'll see how we go into the weekend. I have a feeling tomorrow is going to be pretty slow as well, without any really kind of huge news. But again, one little play that you could have taken on this one. I did not get into that one. I didn't have that one set. It actually formed after I was asleep already. So, next pair, okay? Aussie New Zealand. So, Aussie New Zealand, let me bring this back up to a 30-minute so we can get a fair assessment, okay? You guys can see we had this kind of break above this level that we had talked about before. And again, this was that news piece of it. I had this here for something. I don't remember what I had that there for. I had there for something, but again, there was a bit of an area. Again, we talked about kind of the spike. Again, those were kind of 5-minute things. That's why I think they're there. But again, nice large spike up, a bit of a retracement. So this one, again, a lot of people will see this and say, okay, here, there's a parabolic retracement, right? Here's 19, and we go back. 19 was right in this candle. Okay, that was the news that we saw last night. Again, price spiked. The retrace didn't really go full, and again, it was moving. It was well on its way, and then it just kind of flatlined. It just kind of ran out of steam. It was putting in lower highs, it was putting in lower lows, and then just kind of just stopped right here. Again, this kind of, hit some drama and then kind of turned and went back up again. So we are still kind of pushing up into this daily zone right here. And again, we're now pushing quite far into it. And in all reality, this one kind of blew it when it popped above. But again, I don't really, interesting pair, right? So again, didn't get the retrace, but it did bounce off of his zone here. So, it's one of those things was kind of like, you could have taken it, right? You were about 3/4 of the way through. The target on this one would have been up right here at this red. So you got pretty close, but at the end of the day, I wasn't looking at this one. I didn't trade this one. This was still a little bit too sideways for me. And again, bouncing off this level, you expected a little bit more, but it just kind of died on us. Aussie dollar. You guys can see Aussie dollar had this kind of whip effect, right? Bring this back to a 30. Okay, you guys can see what it did today. Not a whole lot, right? Not a whole lot. It started to get that little bit of a retrace. It kind of stopped here, right? We had this little bit of a pop. There was our target, and it started to come back down again and then just based. Okay, whenever you have like 4 candles like this of basing, red, green, back and forth, if you were in a short position, it's just better to get yourself out of it. And you can see, again, down, retrace, pop, retrace, and then just flatline. So again, starting to get smaller. I can remove this. Now, again, you guys can see if we draw from here up to, we kind of have a trend line pushing forward, and we're kind of forming, somewhat of a flat top, although it is not perfect, okay? Technically, right now, if you guys are looking at this, again, we ignore the red, we take the green, we draw it across. We are technically in a downtrend, but again, not downtrend confirmed because we are stuck above the anchor. When it goes below the anchor at 67.60, okay, then we'll be in a downtrend confirmed, all right? Nothing really even to give us a retracement. When this was green, when price was a little bit higher, right? At some point, this was up here. It was considered green. We were in a sideways market. And again, still nothing exciting, all right? This was just more or less flat today. I actually thought this would be a little bit more of a mover, but it wasn't. It just, you guys can see it consolidated within what? 67.80 at its low, 67.70. So about a 15 pip range. This one stayed in all day. And yeah, it was just really smart. I just saw something dancing. Yeah, it was really small. Yep. So as far as setups go for this one, probably a little bit more bearish at this point, seeing that we have a top here and a top here. And again, these are forming lower. And you guys will see, again, here's a low and then there's a lower low. So it looks like we're going to be trending to the downside. But as far as an entry in this one, don't have anything that just screams at me like, I love this. This is good. And again, if I don't see that, particularly, I think the daily picture is extremely ugly. A lot of these kind of just, big day down, big day up, and then kind of just back and forth. So just don't love anything about the Aussie dollar pair right now. We'll have to see in the morning time if something comes up with a dollar, some type of mention of inflation or something. I just don't see any setups that are just calling to me right now on this pair that I love. Okay. Looking at pound Aussie. Now, see, pound didn't make it all the way down, but it did make it to kind of the start of the last big kind of spike up. So again, it did retrace back down what we had talked about last night, and then it did come back up again and hit, and now it's pushing back down again. So interesting enough, its last push through actually went through the top of the purple. Excuse me, and touched the pink. Okay, we just pierced the top of it. So we are still effectively in this sideways channel back and forth. It's not a bad channel, too. I think we talked about this last night, that this channel back and forth is 136 pips. So there is some movement in this one. And again, as you can see, we kind of turned, flipped, and even with the red, green, red, the red, green, red would have actually triggered us right at the top of the channel, the 178.74. Okay. Again, a little bit of basing, a pop down, and did come back up and retest. So you could have taken that off of this basing level here, this drop, sideways drop piece. Had you taken it off of this, the risk was even smaller in this case. Instead of taking the full of the candle, you take it off this kind of drop piece right here. So a little bit of an entry down. Again, the target on this one, I'm going to leave. Actually, let me turn these blue. So that's not a target. It's the channel. There you go. Then the target on this one would be approximately in here. Let's turn this green now so you guys can see it. Okay, so that would be approximately where the target is. Maybe I should change the channel to little dots. There we go. Okay, so there's your channel, top and bottom, and again, that's where our target on this one is going to be, the 177.87. Again, channeling, daily picture, kind of the similar situation. I really don't like this daily picture at all. Technically, the red is engulfed, so even though we have the green, we are engulfed. But again, you guys can see wick, wick, huge wick, huge wick. And again, that's the retracing back and forth on this, this kind of sideways channel that we have here. Trying to see if I would take anything off of this lower level. Probably not. It is a valid zone. It does pull back and kind of bounce off this, this lower level here, which was the 4-hour buying area. So again, we did clear it and bounce off of it. But the fact that we hit once and then hit ding and ding and then took off, I don't know if the next time we'll hold through. I think a good target on this one is going to be the 177.87, and I don't know that I would push too much farther below that without having to take a shot. Again, you have this area here and you have an area right below it, so it's really a level on top of a level. Just be a bit cautious with that. I just think that, may not be worth holding that one too long into a Friday. As I said, once the pound kind of news is out in the morning, this one's going to flatline. This is not going to probably do much. So we're going to start seeing more of a consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it does close and kind of come down and then sit right at this lower level, which is not a bad level going into Sunday. But we'll see what it's able to do into tomorrow morning. All right. Euro pound. All right. So Euro pound, what did it do? It came down. And where did it do? It banged right off the gold, right? Okay. Yesterday we talked, like right here is where we are right now at 19. Go back and you guys will see we were sitting right up here. We had come through the bottom of the channel. We had pulled back and touched the channel, and we were sitting in this single wick against a wall. And again, this was a daily level. So it came down, it hit the top of the daily level, and then just crashed down. And it actually did hit our first profit target. So it was actually a pretty big day, for this pair. Now it's an interesting question. Is it going to bounce from here, or is it just pulling back? Is this the impulse correction, impulse, and then the corrective move? That's what's going to be the big question, is whether or not this will have the ability to drive back down again. So next area, again, this is the blue area that we're looking for to be able to overcome. First target was here because of this kind of upwards, kind of ascending kind of movement here with the wicks, as well as the basing, and then the pop out of it. Right below that, obviously, there's this piece here, but the wicks aren't really that huge, okay? And then what it does is it opens us up to this bit of a racetrack on the daily. Again, this profit target would be probably, I'd probably be more conservative and put it at this, basically it's at 90, right? 89, 93 is kind of where this kind of takeoff point was. Being a round number, I would probably just put it at 90. Um, I think that's what we're probably in store for. If this doesn't, if this basically is this the only pullback we have and it starts to turn red again, um, one little speed bump down here around this 91.16 area, and then overall target for me would be down at 90. Okay. I don't know, again, where we are right now. That's 185 pips. That's not a 1-day movement, but it'll be interesting to see if we can get a push down and a close just below this line. And the reason, or again, it can stay here, but I would prefer if it pushes a little bit farther down below here. And then what we're looking for is a Sunday night gap. If we have a gap in the direction of this trend to the downside, we're looking to get entry if it comes back and hits this gap. Okay. Again, we have a day right now, so I'm not going to draw it. But if this was Friday and it closed right here, we'd be marking off this zone. If it gapped below, we're waiting for the price to rally up, hit this gap, and then take the short. Okay. If it goes to the top side, it's kind of messing the trend up a little bit. But again, that's the Sunday night gap strategy. All right. Right now, I'd be looking for a trigger below this gold level. Again, that gold level was kind of our first initial kind of target to the downside if it broke through, and it did. Again, and that was drawn off of this candle right here, this basing, and then kind of the green launch. Actually, it's supposed to be a little bit higher. It's supposed to be right there, right on the tooth thing. So again, it went a little bit. Yeah, you're definitely in, right? And you can see it bounce off of there. That is the buyers that created this pop. Okay. Look for that to the downside. Euro yen. Euro yen again has been sitting. Okay, here's where price is right here, right? Because it says 19, and then we look back, and price was right here last night. So it did spike. It did hit the 4-hour zone, and it dropped right back down to where it was. So if you guys were able to grab this one, okay, we'd marked this off last night a little bit. I thought we did, but anyway, here's your 4-hour descending wicks. Should have been easy to grab. Okay, that would have been a sell. I thought we had this one marked off in this chart. It's a problem with using a couple different platforms. I thought we had marked it, and I guess maybe we didn't. But anyway, we had this retrace, this drop, kind of sideways, and then all the way back down. Retraced again. The target for this retrace would have been right here. Okay, would have been this. Why is it? I just wanted to go flat. No, I wanted to go flat. There we go. That would have been where our target was. Again, it hit, it based, and then kind of rallied back up again. It grabbed more orders and went back to the downside. So really from where we were last night, there's really no movement, but we did get a nice spike up and a nice spike down, and it occurred over here at about 2:30 in the morning for me. Okay. Again, for you guys, different time. Some of you actually may have been up. I think some of you guys may have taken this. And again, this is the 4-hour level. Remember, you can always drop down and go to the lower time frame. In this case, had you done that, there would have been your kind of condensed zone, and it still hit and continued to push back down. Again, the target would have remained the same. You want to do from the start of the move, and that's exactly what it did. Okay, so I don't know if anybody grabbed that one. So where we are now, we're still resting right on this daily buying zone. Again, it is starting to push lower though. It is putting in lower highs, so it is definitely taking more attempts, and it's pushed lower here. We'll see if it continues to push lower again here. It's going to start entering this area. I'm very curious to see tomorrow what the overall stock market does, because it's going to affect the yen's pricing, which will obviously affect this pair. I want to see if we can get some yen strength out of this whole thing, that would definitely serve to kind of push this lower and eat up more of these orders. Okay. Now, this is quite a large area, but again, it's going to start eating orders up on the daily, and you guys can see even on the 4-hour. I mean, it's a big area. We're going to need to start chiseling it through and putting in some supply areas so it can pull back to grab orders to continue to push lower. Okay, so interesting place that we are on this one right now. And again, this is a Thursday night with not a lot of movement. And again, you guys can see here's where we were last night, right here. This green candle is. Here's where we are right now. Okay, literally sideways. So all I'm doing is just going sideways. We had one new spike up and retracement back down, and that was it today. So no setup on this one right now currently. Euro dollar, and again, you guys can see euro dollar went down about 46 pips today. Okay, it continued its downward progression. Okay, here is our drawing from last night, right? Last night when we drew this, let's see, we were right in here. We talked about it. We were about 3/4 of the way through when it was pulling back. Okay, it didn't really. Again, we talked about where you would kind of put your stop, right? It pulled back a little bit, didn't really do anything impressive. Again, there was a little wick over wick here right at this dotted line, and you guys can see that's what held us in there. Okay, so price came down, it tickled the pink area or the purple area here, continued to drop, and then drove all the way through. Now, again, it is at a low. Okay, not the lowest of lows, but it is definitely driving down. Okay, obviously hit first profit target. Second profit target was down here at 110.73 as the next potential area. Right, those were drawn off of these two areas here. Okay, so this little speed bump here, you can see it gave us a little bit of a hiccup, but it is driving through. So first profit target hit, second kind of bump area was down in this area. Again, you want to make sure you have your profit target set just above that one, but this one is still continuing to drop down. I do think this one will continue. I think there is potential that we will run into something here, although it looks like we're building some nice supply to the downside, or above, I mean, to continue to drive the downside. We'll see when it breaks below this low what kind of trap they're sitting there. But I have a feeling that this one's going to go a bit lower. And again, you want to stay with the trend. Now, where we are now, we're in a downtrend. Now's when we're not supposed to be getting into it. But you guys can see over here, we do have a green area where this thing pulled back and formed a base on the 4 hour. It's hard to see because of this, right? I'll put that there. You guys see this area? Descending candles. There's a little bit of a zone here. So as we're pushing down, if we start to get, again, we got to wait for the candle to close. If we start to get the pullback, that will give us the downtrend setup to where we go to the 4 hour and we have a zone sitting right above where we are now. So this pulls over here and we close and we get some type of a green mark up. Bam, that's their trigger to start going south in this one. And again, if it has not reached all the way down here, there's your first target. If not, your second target's going to be down here. It would be down in this range. Whoops. I got to make sure I stay consistent with colors. Okay, that would be your overall target that you're looking for in that range. Okay. So again, that's where I think we'll go if we can clear this area. But again, I do like how we have a zone formed here. I do like that this red candle is higher. You guys can see that. You guys see this formation here? I like how this is higher, and then this put a lower one in. So this is definitely a zone that I'm interested in. Okay, as far as an area that if it pulls back, taking a short off of that area. And again, on my chart, you guys should be able to see it. This is on the 4 hour. You're talking about 111.06 to 111.19. So again, about 13 pips. Great for a 4 hour zone, especially for somewhat of a retracement. I don't think anything news tomorrow will give us a hop up in this area, but it's there. It's establishing. It's definitely something I want to mark off. This is also a relatively clean zone. The exit of this one is very, very nice on the 4 hour, but the fact that these two candles have the same exact tops on them, both those wicks, kind of shows me that they established the orders and cleared them, but it was an explosive move out. So there is something there. I just don't know how much because the established and the cleared wicks are exactly the same, but nice movement, definitely some big movement to the downside. And you can see that here as well as in the 30 minutes. So nice little launch point that we can take, off of those two areas. All right. Looking into your Aussie. Okay. Euro also basically did the same thing. It continued to push down. It did have a little bit more of a bounce, and it did it with less wicks. Okay. Okay, we did break this one. We're right about where this little basing area is. This is not my favorite basing area, and here's why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9 candles, so the fact that it spent so much time there makes it a lower quality area. It did have a pop where this, basically right where price is right now, it did pop, and that's most likely what we saw kind of drive this back up again. I don't think the area is going to hold. I think it will continue to go lower at this point. I think it may chop through because there are a couple wicks down here, but I think the next stopping point or hiccup on this one is 162.78. We have this racetrack drawn over here as well. There is, again, nice pullback, okay, and then nice pop out of it. So I think that this is going to be this will be the next target to the downside. I don't think we're going to hit it tomorrow though. I think this is a weekend play. Unfortunately, how much space have we got here? Let me see. Measure from here. Yeah, it's about 104 pips that we need to overcome. Looking at the ATR. Yeah, ATR is about 90. If it stays high, again, it's starting to slow down. These pips have these two candles have kind of jacked it up at this point. Even if it's a peak, it can do 130. So it looks like the best it could do if it had, again, the day's already pretty much over. Or not pretty much over, but the day's already started for the Aussie. It's going to start running out of steam pretty soon. And we only have about What, 12 and a half, like 12 and 13 hours to go until the euro's closed. So in 13 hours, we'll see if we're able to overcome that much of a distance. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get down here. I think we're going to get stuck in one of these two zones. That's the call, is if we can push through which one of these two zones is going to slow it down enough to have it end there. Okay, but that'd be my bet, is one of these two things are going to get kind of, it's going to stop us there. Yeah, I mean, if it starts to pull back at all as well, this is not a bad zone here. Okay, you guys can see the descending candles. It didn't quite make it here, but these are descending. It's not bad on a 4-hour. I kind of like that one. This one is not as good as this. I like this pop in one candle and then back down again. Kind of basing sideways. Nothing too exciting with that one. This one I like much, much better. Okay. I mean, that's something we could, mark off as well. All right. Let's go down to pound yen. So pound yen did not have the biggest day. Look at this. We're almost all the way green. It's crazy, right? 55 pips. Okay. Its ATR is definitely much more than that. So right now we're back in sideways movement. Obviously, the green is the action candle because we're up today. The red is completely engulfed. It is still considered an uptrend, and it's close to the uptrend confirmed because price is now pushing in a green manner above the red. Yeah, I mean, you guys can see there's not too much, right? Oh, that's 5 minute. Hold on. I was like, wait a second, that's not right. Yeah, there we go. So we had talked about this as a basing level. We didn't quite make it down to the target. So if this was our target, I think that moved right there. Okay. Didn't make it all the way down there. So you may have been in this trade. You may have gotten short, right? Didn't hit your target. Okay. You're still positive in the trade, most likely, but not by much. This, when this kind of spiked up, most likely you probably would have got taken out, or your stop loss would have got real close. And it happens, But what I have told you in the past is if you are watching these things, right, you're looking for 2 level breaks. Okay. When this gave you a kind of a lower high and a higher low, there's your 1 area, there's your 2 area. You should have been taken out of this trade right about here. Right about there. Okay. Because if you count them, right, here's a green, a red, and a green. And there's a level break, and there's a level break. So there's where you've been taking yourself out of this trade. Okay, so if you got short, okay, you may or may not have gotten some heat on this one. Again, if you took it off of this area, that's where you entered. Okay, I know we talked about that one last night, but I think I deleted this one. And again, price came all the way down, and you busted yourself out right here. Okay, so we didn't get the full profit target. It didn't hit. At the end of the day, let's see. If you got in off of this zone, actually, I think we talked about this kind of red, green, red. Cut below. If you're using this as your risk level, okay, it's about 20, and it looks like you would have ended up banking about 78. So not horrible, right? Again, now it's retraced all the way back up again. It's blown through this line. It hasn't gone to new highs. We'll see. I think this one will continue to push down tomorrow. I would like, if we can get back over in here, I'd be happy with this one. I don't want to see this. This is just constant grinding because that's going to be a little bit harder to analyze next week. So. Let's see. Are we gonna move those tomorrow? Not with building permits. See, like even with yellow, there's nothing tomorrow morning. I mean, we have Euro trade balance, which is not. I mean, it's minor. It's a dead Friday. Yeah, I think this is what we could be in for. And again, yes, you guys may see this big green candle, a bit of a racetrack. The wicks at the top kind of make it a little bit funky to be able to get in this one to the downside, as well as this wick here. I don't know if you guys can see it. This wick retracing all the way back down kind of made this one a little bit harder to trade. I like this. Looking for an entry, though, when you have a candle like this, you're like, what is this? But again, it is grinding and turning back down again. If you were short, again, make sure you're out of this trade around 128.05. Don't hold it too much longer because right below this here, I mean, technically there's the start of a zone from there to there. But again, there's another zone right here where where this arrow is down at 127.80. So watch out for the Friday tweet. Yeah, that's about the only thing we can hope for. And again, it's probably going to be an insult to China that, or it's going to be a bust on China because Japan holds more debt, which really it's not going to move too much. Just we don't care who has our debt, just as long as somebody has it. And Japan's historically had it, so whatever. Pound dollar. Let's look at this guy. So again, we had some pound strength coming in, which is good. We saw that in the euro pound pair. In this one again, we had some strength that came up. Well, we don't need this anymore. But really, kind of, where are we? Are we trending? Are we not trending? What we did in this one is, again, we broke through that blue area, right? We came down, we ended up hitting the profit target, came back up again. But what did we run into? It was this kind of purple area, right? So this has really been kind of the box that we've been stuck in. Okay. And again, this area was marked back there, and you can see it spent time in there, and I'm just leaving it there for records. But you could turn this into red if we wanted to, as the top area, right? We could say that this was the top area. And then this piece down here is the bottom area between the two purples, from here to here. Okay. So we are stuck between an area of sellers up here. And again, price did pop and then got forcibly pushed back down again, as well as this bottom area that has hit and then kind of stabilized, right? It's put itself in front of the level. So right now, this pound piece is literally just stuck, right, between two levels. Again, sideways, we had one pop and then it was sideways. So remove this one day, remove Friday last week, it's had no movement. So hopefully, but again, Friday last week we had some news. Hopefully we get a tweet tomorrow, but I don't know. Trump is playing golf this week. I think he's actually down at his down at Key Largo or Malargo or whatever it's called down in Florida. Whatever, I forget however you say it. But yeah, he's down playing golf this week. He's off, so I don't know if he'll tweet or if he won't tweet. Speaking of tweets, Boris Johnson tweeted today. I don't know if you guys saw it. He did actually tweet, so I can verify that he has a Twitter profile. New Jersey? Trump's in New Jersey? I swear I heard earlier this week he was playing golf this week. I think he pretty much spent all his time in Florida. Mar-a-Lago, there you go. I knew it was something like that. Something Lago, I don't know. I've never been there. I probably will never go there. So it's one of those things that it's not necessarily important for me to attend. Go look at pound New Zealand. All right, so pound New Zealand also got a little bit wicky. Again, this pair can do that when it's not moving. No big retracement. Again, this went all the way back down to hit our profit target and is now just kind of pushed back up again. So we did have this kind of funky spike yesterday. We did push back up into there again. It went right up to where the profit target should have been on the retrace, hit it, kind of came back down, hit the bottom, and again, same type of similar consolidation. Down here, up here. Again, for basically 16 hours, this pair hasn't moved. So not a whole lot we can trade on this one right now, especially going into a Friday. The New Zealand market is open. Pound market opens in a couple hours, but again, I don't know where's the trend. There's been no trend for 16 hours. And again, you guys can see right now, technically, we're in an uptrend confirmed, but it is sideways up confirmed because this red is completely engulfed. And I really dislike all these wicks in here. Okay, so that's what we're at with that pair. New Zealand dollar. This one is just laying on the zone. It's just laying here. Yeah, and again, this is from back here. So again, much smaller day. Again, sideways movement. It's completely engulfed in the color. You guys can see. Look at the 4 hour. It's basically flat. Again, can't make it move. When it's flat, it's flat. It's a no trade situation. Okay. Looking at dollar Swiss. All right, so dollar Swiss, again, red is completely engulfed. That is showing us that it is sideways. Again, we're at the kind of the upper end of this area. So again, we have this kind of, this piece up here, right? We've hit it, here, and then bounced away again. So we're really just kind of keep hitting this back again. This one was also a failed retrace. Had you played this one to the downside, you guys can see it had almost an immediate retrace to this wick over wick, right? This little wick over wick here. You guys see that? And again, it kind of smashed into it. It hit it here, bounced, went into the middle, popped out again, drove through it, and then that was it. It was kind of just like, that's it, off to the races, flatlined, and then gone sideways. So we are up in this area now, up in the 190, was it 97.73? And again, it's been stuck for about 16 hours and hasn't moved in this area. So don't know what to tell you on that one. No trend. Probably not, again, with no news tomorrow, unless there is, somebody shooting missiles or somebody else is getting, shooting a plane down or something like that. I don't really see too much that's going to be able to power this one. Yes, it is in a zone up here, but the zone has been hit multiple times. And I think it just, it's the reason the zone is there is it's just shy of 98. We're getting close to that round number. So no pip chip tournament at Uncle Don's. Bummer. Yeah. Ernest, the problem is we got to see if there's enough volatility to make it worth it. You know, if there's considered to be no risk, there's not going to be enough premium in there to grab on them, and that could be the only problem. You know, and like you said, technically there's not a whole lot going on, but as you said, Friday is the favorite tweet day, right? Yeah, the Swiss is it's just not a whole lot in this one. Nothing really to trade, right? Again, very common across a lot of pairs today, but there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, like I said, looking at this going into the Thursday with the news that we had, today, this is super flat. Okay, and again, you're not going to trade a flat market. Again, can trade it with butterflies as long as you have the right, areas on the top and bottom, and there's enough premium to take. If there's not enough premium, it's kind of just not great. So dollar CAD actually did have some movement today, guys. You can see, actually, this one, I'm sorry, not dollar CAD. I was thinking of the other one. Only about 11 pips. So obviously large run up, and then we've had some retraces back and forth again. A lot of that came in the middle of the night that you guys can see 3, 4, 7 o'clock in the morning, right? We had some movement, and then boom, it pulled back, right? This is kind of what we've done since, here's where we are now. Go back. This morning, back, and this is where we were last night. So we're more or less at the exact, because this is 19. Actually, I guess this is, 22? So it's not exact here. So we're about 14 pips from where we were last night. Not too much going on with this one, right? A little bit of a pullback, a little bit of pull up, no movement. Like I said, we are getting. I do like where we're getting though. Okay, so I do like. Let's do it with this one. I do like this zone up here because this was a nice little pop, bounced off of this zone, right? So I am looking for some type of selling to kind of step in here, and we're starting to get close to it. If we can get a little bit of I like this, right? Impulse, correction. Impulse, it went higher. Correction move. If we can get green pushing higher, I have some faith that we can get up into this area up here around 133.76. I would love for us to be here on Sunday. Okay, so if you guys can do your dollar CAD dances tonight, if we can get this thing to rally, kind of what do we need? 50 pips tomorrow, which is what the ATR is. If we can get it to go up 50 pips and end or be really, really close within striking distance of this area, that's an awesome trade setup for Sunday. Just because, again, leading into the week in daily supply, that could give us what we need to kind of propel us down. I'd be all over that if we could get it, but we'll see what we're able to do. Okay, so right now, again, it's this red is completely engulfed. It's sideways up confirmed. We are sitting in an area up top. You guys can see where price is. These two wicks are kind of sketchy. They are descending though, so there is somebody hitting buttons over here to sell from there. But again, I like this that we had a pullback that was sharp, a nice pop, and 2 candles back up again, a small retrace. And again, it's setting up that it can go a bit higher. So if it does fail, there may be a slight short in here, but again, we're being supported by these ascending wicks right here, so there's not really too much that you need to worry about. All right. So dollar CAD is, potentially setting up for a good trade going into Sunday, but nothing, particularly wonderful right now. Dollar yen, you guys can see, is up 30 pips from where we were last night. Okay, let's see. Pull the chart. And again, what do we have? Red's completely engulfed. We were in a downtrend setup. Unfortunately, we're sitting in this racetrack. It did not retrace all the way down. Okay, it did not go down and hit the profit target. It kind of halted, right? Stopped here, came down, failed again, came over, and if you had been short this one, most likely just like with the Aussie yen, you probably would have got stopped out. Now, you would have been trailing this one down to this black level, and that's why this black level was here. We had talked about this black level last night. I'd probably have it. We were we? We were right. I said we're at what, 22? Yeah, 21. We were right over here last night, and I said that's why I do the black line. I'd probably have my stop pulled down to here just in case something funky happens, and it did. At 2:30 in the morning, you had this kind of spike all the way through, so you would have made out with this one. Let's see, based off that area, about 70 pips is what you would have snagged on that one. Okay, and again, it took us out with a stop loss, not a profit target, but at the end of the day, getting stopped out with a stop loss that made you 70 pips, that's not a bad way to do things, okay? And again, you guys can see where the stop loss is. That's exactly where price is right now. It did go higher, and it rebounded back like a rubber band, and then kind of just stopped, right? And you guys can see this. Look at the black line. See the black line where current price is? Look how close it is to where the actual the stop loss was for us last night, right? But that's why we actually trailed the stop loss to the downside. And again, that's something that takes a little while to learn if you guys are not comfortable in managing your stops. If you're if you get super nervous watching these things, then it's better sometimes for you just to kind of do a set and forget. And when the trade goes on, just walk away and let it complete or not complete. Um, you know, but again, in time, you will learn how to manage things correctly. And if you would have managed this to the downside, you would have gotten taken out. If you didn't get stopped out here, because again, this is the area, you have the same exact price target right now. The price would be exactly what it was before. All right. This is not one I would hold into the weekend, by the way. Not with all the stuff happening over in Hong Kong. Definitely wouldn't hold this one over the weekend. Yeah, and as far as setups go, again, like I said, we are sideways technically with an upward bias. Okay, red is completely engulfed. We are in a green candle. It's not above the actual top, so we're not an uptrend confirmed. It is a response based off this daily wick over wick that we hit once, hit it second time, right? We did not retrace all the way back down. It was most likely a failed retest. And again, there would have been your stop loss. You would have been taken out right here on this one at about 2:30 this morning in this spike. Okay, looking at dollar Swiss. Okay, dollar Swiss. All right. I'm sorry, CAD Swiss. So we're definitely outside. So this is giving us a downtrend setup situation. Now we had this marked off as our profit target. It did not. Right? It didn't make it. Right? It kind of got stopped. And again, it gave us an opportunity. It did go lower. Right? We got within striking distance. We were close. We were at 72.94, and we needed 72.85. So we got within 9-10 pips of the profit target, and then price rallied back up on us. Okay, so profit target 1 would have been hit. You're still inside of profit target 2. You have what? 51 down to 35, so another 15. So you have about 45 pips on your second position on this one still. Obviously, you'd have your stop loss down here. This would be a free position. The worst you can do on this trade at this point would be to make 30 pips on it. Again, remember, guys, profit target 1 was here. It went through. Profit target 2. This was profit target 1. Profit target 2 is down here. Have not hit it. So again, you'd have your target at least here. You may have even trailed it down a little bit lower, but again, we didn't get a red. This red didn't go lower, so you probably would have left it up here. So if you're still in the trade, you have 45 pips in. Again, your call at this point. Neither of these markets is trading. The Swiss will come online tomorrow. There is, I believe, some CAD numbers tomorrow morning. Yeah, but it's foreign securities purchases. There's nothing. It's not going to be anything that's gigantic. So like I said, I think this one is kind of going to baseline. Now, things that I'm looking at this is obviously a low. There's a support and resistance trap right here. Probably not as much of a one here, but definitely one here. And then this 4-hour zone. Remember, we've hit the 4-hour zone one time already. Make sure that you have this area on your chart because it pierced at about 50%, but there are definitely orders sitting here. Okay, and these orders are where I'll reach and didn't even make it. So make sure you have 73.94 to 74.04, that kind of 10 pip zone. And again, it's based off of this drop right here. Okay, make this big. Again, my price is maybe slightly different. Make sure you have this area marked off here. This drop, sideways drop, the one we hit already. Because again, it's 3. So normally when it pierces this bad, you don't want to do it. But it's 1, 2, 3, which is an odd number. So established, cleared, established. So there's established orders sitting in the top of this area. Okay, just be cautious of that because this is a pretty good zone. And again, this forcefully shot it up, turned, and forcefully shot it all the way back down again. So if we get up there, I definitely believe there's some sellers. So make sure that you have that marked. All right. What I recommend on this one is set an alert. Okay. Set an alert somewhere down here in the 73.80-ish area. That gives you about 10-15 pips to kind of come back to it in case you're not there. Put an alert sitting somewhere in that area, right? We'll change this to a color. We'll use this, do the purple. Okay. Use that, make it gold. There we go. Okay. Use that as far as an alert area so you guys can get into a position up here. Okay. But again, your call if you guys are still in this one, what you want to do. Didn't make it to the full profit target. Kind of retraced on us, but it's not, again, we're still up 45 in there with the first one being banked for 30. Looking at CAD Yen. Come on, you can load. You can do it. You can do it. There we go. All right. So this one retraced. It hit full target. I think we talked about that last night that we came down. If you didn't get it here, obviously you would have hit it here. So Went up, kind of missed the very, very top, as far as your entry goes. Didn't quite make it, but if you did get into the position on the lower time frame, this is the area we talked about overcoming. We ended up hitting it, and you guys can see this is where it first ran into that level of basing down here. And normally this isn't as big a deal when you see this as the low, not the, not the, you typically like to see that as, we'd like to have the candles ascending, one and then a higher one. This is the exact opposite. This is descending at this point. Yeah, and we're stuck there, right? So the red is technically just outside of the green, but it's basically at the same spot. Again, went up, turned around, retraced back to the sound, and again we can see on the lower time frames it's basically at the bottom. So it is more or less sideways. You guys can see from basically here all the way back. It hasn't not a lot of movement in this one. This one needs some type of news, right? We need some news like this. News like any of these big candles in here, like this can get small, and then boom, and that's where you get some nice movement. So not really, again, like I said, not really a ton on this one either. Really the best thing I like was probably I think it was a dollar yen. I think a dollar yen. Yeah, the dollar yen again. Mark that. Oh no, it wasn't dollar yen. It was a dollar CAD. CAD Swiss had that. The 4 hour zone. You guys should mark off. Yeah, make sure you guys have this one on your radar. The 133.76 for Sunday. Okay, that's kind of the biggie I'm looking for. I don't think any of the yen pair. I think all the yen pairs basically flatlined on us. Yeah, they all consolidated. All right, guys. Well, that's all we got tonight. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot. And again, like I said, Thursdays when it's this flat, I mean, let me see. What is the ATR right now on the pound yen? I'm gonna see what this thing is down to because we've really had some small days in that one. Let's see. Indicator, true average range. And right now we're at 120, which is still low. But if we take kind of the low area and pick the middle ground on this one, you're talking about in the 90s. Actually, you know what else I can do? I can check. Let's see. Hold on. The more reliable resource or the easier resource. Let's see. When in doubt, just pull up your other platform. All right. So the daily ATR on this one right now, it says it's 135. So the last 14 days, if we use the last 14 days for the pound yen, it's up to 135. I guess it should be more like that. Okay, but it's 14 days. So, count them back. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this gigantic candle is really what's kind of stimulating all this. Yeah, the 310 pip candle, that's the one that's kind of messing with the average right now. Because I wouldn't say it's 135. But yeah, that's the one that's messing. So yeah, by Monday this one will be gone, and then we'll get kind of a true sense. But I would bet it's probably down somewhere in like the 80s to 90s. So yeah, we'll see. So guys, with that being said, trade careful tomorrow. Again, if you do know how to trade some butterflies, that would be something that, or if you want to get some experience with it, go check that out tomorrow on Nadex. That would be tomorrow. I think would be probably a pretty good day to kind of check that out. A popular pair to do it on is the Aussie yen. Check the Aussie yen. That's Ernest's little secret trade there. But besides that, again, keep your risk small tomorrow, unless there's a tweet. Which again, the tweet course is not ready yet. I don't have it out. I can't get compliance to approve it. No, there's not a tweet class coming yet. But yeah, so be careful with that one. With that being said, guys, have a great weekend. I will be on live Monday morning with Nadex at 7:30. I can post in Discord. If not, just go to Nadex and do webinars, and you guys can find it. I'll be there Monday. I won't be on Tuesday. I don't start that till September. And then again, we will return for Chart School next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right. So have a good weekend. I will catch you guys in Discord tomorrow. Take care.